So you got pulled over by a police officer while your driver's license is either suspended or revoked. You've been charged with a criminal offense. But there are things you can often do to help your situation, but you got to know what they are. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Not just the law and not just the potential penalties, but how can you help your situation if you find yourself here? Let's dive into that right now. Hi, I'm attorney Derek Martin with Driver Defense Team, and driving on a suspended or revoked license is one of the most common types of cases that we handle. And it seems pretty straightforward, right? Your license is suspended or revoked and you get pulled over. And oftentimes it is that straightforward. I mean, in court, the only thing the prosecutor really has to prove is that you are in actual physical control of the vehicle. Usually that's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you are driving, you're in control of the vehicle. But you don't even need to be driving. I mean, even if you're just sitting in the driver's seat with the keys or even outside and you have the keys with you and you're able to hop in and drive away, you're probably going to be considered to be in control of that vehicle. And so the second thing they need to prove is that your license is suspended or revoked. That's also quite easy. They just submit a certified copy of your driving record to the court. And so people get frustrated with these cases, right? Well, what can you do? How do you beat it? But before we talk about that, let's talk about the difference between being suspended and revoked. I think it's important here. Now, this law covers both, but there is a difference and you should know what it is. So suspended means that your driving privileges are suspended or taken away for a defined period of time, whether that's 30 days or 6 months or 12 months. At the end of that term, your license is set to come back. Now that's different than being revoked, because if your license is revoked, your driving privileges are gone for an indefinite period of time. They're not coming back unless you proactively get them back, either by removing that basis for the revocation or more commonly petitioning the Illinois Secretary of State and convincing them to give you your driving privileges back. That's not an easy thing to do. So there is a difference between the two, but this law covers both. And probably one of the more important things, or equally as important things, is what is the basis or the reason for your suspension in the first place? Now, the law categorizes that into two big broad categories, either a non-serious reason or a serious reason for your suspension or revocation. And so we want to determine that right away because the law says if it's non-serious, this is how it's handled. If it's serious, this is how it's handled, and these are what the minimum penalties are. So we want to determine that up front. First, we're going to talk about the non-serious reasons for a license suspension. There are many. There can be a lot of different reasons, in fact, multiple reasons why you're suspended. But some of the most common are having too many moving violations. So you get a couple tickets, you get convictions on your record. The Secretary of State is going to send you a letter that says, based on your bad driving record, you're now going to be suspended for some period of time. That's a very common reason for a suspension. Another probably equally as common reason is unpaid tickets. Whether those are traffic tickets or parking tickets or those camera tickets that we all hate. If you refuse to pay those things, you're eventually going to get your license suspended. Another very common one is failing to appear in court. So you get a ticket, you're required to appear in court, you fail to do so, eventually the Secretary of State's going to get notified and your license is going to be suspended. Now, those are all considered non-serious. But that's only in comparison to the more serious reasons, right? It's still a criminal offense. I mean, even if your license is suspended for a non-serious reason and you get pulled over, you still have a criminal offense. Now, it might not be a felony. It's more likely than not a misdemeanor. But a Class A misdemeanor in Illinois is still punishable by up to a year in jail and a $2,500 fine. So this is something you got to take seriously. And one of the ways that you can show that you're taking this seriously and one of the ways that you can really help yourself is by fixing your license. And you don't need to wait to court to do that. In fact, don't wait until court. What we want to do is we want to start either paying those tickets or we want to start removing those things from your record and cleaning up your record. We want to start getting your license back as soon as possible because there's nothing better than walking into court with this type of ticket and now having your license. Sure, you didn't have it at the time you were pulled over, but having it now is going to do wonders for your case. So if that's at all possible, let's begin doing that right now. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that sets our law firm apart from many others, is that we want to look not just at this current thing you're charged with, but we want to look at your record and your situation overall. Because one, it's going to help you, but two, at the end of this, you're going to be able to drive legally, and that's really the ultimate goal here. And so we will look at your driving record, we're going to look at the basis, we're going to dive into all that and see what needs to be done in order to have a holistic approach and fix this for you once and for all. Now, this is a lot different situation if the reason you are suspended or revoked is considered to be serious or aggravating. Totally different situation there, because you have a criminal offense, and now it might be a misdemeanor, but it might also be a felony. Some of the reasons that are serious are a DUI. That's the most common one. So if you get a DUI, and your license is probably going to get suspended or revoked eventually, you continue to drive, now you have a case like this. And it's important to know that the penalty for this case is often more harsh than the DUI case. For example, if it's the first time that you've been caught driving on a suspended or revoked license after your DUI, the law says that the minimum penalty is 10 days in jail or 240 hours of community service. Probably not something that you want, and that's a big surprise for a lot of people for a first-time offense. But it's not just DUIs, it's the most common, but also leaving the scene of an accident, reckless homicide, and there's a bunch of other criminal offenses that can cause your license to be suspended or revoked. And so then you wind up with a case like this. And like I said, this can go up all the way to very serious felonies that include jail time and prison time. And so regardless of the basis of your suspension, regardless of your type of case, it is a criminal offense and you want to handle it seriously. What you want is you want a lawyer to look at it right from the top. Why were you stopped in the first place? Can the prosecution prove their case in court, or are there any defenses to that? Also, how can we help your situation? What can we do to maybe clear up your license or mitigate the factors here? And so what you want to do is you want to give us a call and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about your situation from the start and your driver's license overall, not just this case. We're going to point you in the right direction. And if you need us to represent you, we're happy to do that. We do this all the time. But at the very least, I hope that I am pushing you in the right direction. I hope I'm getting you to see that just because you got pulled over while your license is suspended or revoked, all hope is not lost. There are things you can do to improve your situation. But the burden is on you to actually make those efforts and dive into the facts of your background or your license and improve them. So give us a call. We're happy to talk you through it. We're going to quote you a price to do that and go to court with you. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.